it's Bella, the maker mama boss lady behind Bella's Custom Crochets, and welcome to episode 16 of my podcast. I am mainly a crochet podcast. There's a little bit of knitting in here, usually. It's kind of heavy on the knitting this time, actually. But I am a crochet designer by trade, and this is where I talk about all the yarny goodness in my life. If you are new here, thanks for coming. I'm going to talk about a couple reasons why you might be new here. Thanks for joining us. And if you are a returning viewer, I appreciate you sticking with me. I have quite a bit of exciting things to cover today, so we're gonna try and get right down to it. Everything I'm gonna be talking about myself and anybody else is gonna be linked down below. I think I'm gonna start doing show notes on the blog. I did that for my last video of the tour of my yarn stash, and that seemed to work. But one way or another, there'll be a link down below that you can either find the show notes on my blog or down below. We'll see how it goes. We're trying new things, guys. So admin-wise, or things I should tell you wise, this episode that I am doing is in collaboration with Natalie of Knitty Natty. I've not done a collaboration before, so this is super exciting. But Natalie reached out and wanted to know if I wanted to join her in a little collaboration. Natalie is a crochet and knit designer, probably would refer to herself as a knit and crochet designer actually, and a content creator. She is a wife and a dog mom, she calls herself. She lives outside of Dallas, Texas, and her YouTube channel is just killing it. She puts up a ton of awesome content. Not only does she do a weekly podcast, but she does like a bonus video on top of that every week. I think her podcast is Thursdays and her bonus videos are Tuesdays, and then she does lives, and then she's over on Instagram. She does it all. And she has another separate YouTube channel where she does like cleaning and organizing. So you can find her on YouTube as Knitty Natty. This and Nat is her cleaning channel. I'm supposed to be promoting that, but I love that channel too, so why not? I'm going to link everything you need to know about Natalie down below, but how this collaboration is going to work is we're going to be answering a couple of questions that she had collected the right way to say it, that you guys had submitted over on Instagram. She put up a little ask us anything kind of poll, and we're both going to be answering the same questions. So I will be linking Natalie's episode down below. Hers will already be up by the time mine goes up. So if you're coming over here from Natalie's channel, welcome, and I hope you consider staying. In the same vein of considering staying, I am so, maybe by the time the video goes up, it will be at 1K, but so close to 1K, it's annoying. So close, like high 980s. So really, really close. I have a bunch of giveaway stuff I'm going to be talking about. That giveaway is not going to be this episode because I did say I was going to wait till 1K, and today is Tuesday, August something or another. What is the date? August 11th. And when this episode goes up on Friday, maybe we'll be closer to the 1K mark, but I will probably be doing the giveaway next episode. So you're going to want to be a subscriber so you can take part in that. And if you love me, just subscribe. So let me get down to what I've been up to, and then we're going to cover Natalie's questions later on. Not at the end, but later on. So let me get into my regularly scheduled content so we can get to the question bits. You guys ready? All right, notes are over here, so let me consult with my notes. I covered the things. Yes, okay. So finished objects we'll start off with. Why not? Let's talk about Natalie some more. So she is hosting by the time you're seeing this, it will be just about over, but every year she does, in coordination with the same dates as Shark Week, she does Sock Week. And it's a challenge to knit an entire sock in Sunday to Sunday, so basically 8 days or a week or however you want to count your schedule. But yeah, to knit one sock, and it doesn't even have to be blocked or end sewn in or anything, just knit a sock, any color. I don't even think she specified a size, like just knit a sock. You could also crochet a sock. So I participated in that this year for the first time. She started on this past Sunday and will be ending on Sunday, the whatever this Sunday is. 16th maybe? I don't know. But yeah, I knit a sock, guys. Not that I haven't knit a sock before, but I knit my first, not a pair yet because it's just one sock, but it will be my first pair of scrappy socks. So these are all entirely scrappy bits left over from other sock, mostly sock, other fingering weight yarn projects. Some of them are hand dyed, some of them are store-boughts, And let me see if I can walk you through real quick. This one is my own hand dyed that I dyed with excess cake food coloring that had leaked into my storage container. So that's some Wilton food dye. This is Sassy Black Yarns. Those two are from a Lion brand self-striping. This is Knits for Comfort. This is also Sassy Black Yarns, more Lion brand, Kitty Pride Fibers, Knit Picks Hawthorne, more self-striping. I kept working that one in there from Lion brand. This was a Knit Crate. I'm not part of Knit Crate, but I bought it on D-Stash from somebody. This is from my last pair of socks, which really wasn't scrappy, but I stole a little bit out of the 50 plus grams I had left because I really like this colorway. This is from Megs & Co. yarn. Also Lion brand, Knit Picks Hawthorne, more Kitty Pride, Patton's Croy, and then, the same as up there, my hand dyed. And this was my first time doing a garter stitch, slip stitch. I definitely messed up in one spot, so don't look too carefully. It's right in there, guys. I think I went back to normal slip stitch heel there. But yeah, it's really squishy. The garter, I really like it, and it seems to fit really well. I also did a garter heel flap. I have mixed feelings on that, but I'm really liking the garter heel. It fits really well. This side I still need to sew on all the ends, and my seam is a little wonky. It's okay, it's a sock. I decided normally I do the seam down the bottom of my foot, but I thought because I was sewing in all the ends, I'd do it down the side, and maybe that would be more comfortable. I don't know. We shall see. But, yeah, I just need to sew in the ends. This is my normal 64 stitch count, US size ones, and I do 60 rows for the foot. Like I said, I did the garter slip stitch heel, which is just a normal slip stitch heel, except you knit on both sides. And then 65 rows for the foot, and whatever toe that I do that I've said a million times I'm going to look up, and I don't. It's that toe. So yeah, these are really, really fun, and I had 8 days to knit one single sock, and I managed to cast this on Sunday 8 a.m.-ish, right before church, and then I think I got up to about here on Sunday. I did the heel flap yesterday, Monday, messed up the gusset because I started decreasing like it was a toe. I've made socks before, guys, so this part you can tell is maybe a little funny because I had to rip it out and pick it back up, and it's kind of weird, but it'll block. And then, yeah, basically did this today. So it's Tuesday, and I have finished a sock in 3 days, which is pretty magical. I have to say my wrists hurt a little bit. That obsessive, addictive personality. Yeah, I love me a challenge. So I definitely could finish a second sock in a week. Is it weird that I'm just still holding this sock here, guys? I don't know how else to show you this sock. I could definitely finish another sock this week, but one, my wrists are angry. Natalie said don't hurt yourself. I didn't listen. And two, I have other crochet work and stuff to do besides knitting myself selfish socks. This garter heel is really cozy. But there's something about working in either self-striping or scrappy yarns in stripes that is just so motivating because you're like, ooh, I want to get to the next stripe. And then you do. And then you accidentally knit a whole sock in 3 days. So that is my sock week 2020. If you're feeling really ambitious and you're watching this Friday and want to whip out a sock before Sunday, God bless your wrists. But if not, she does this every year, or has in the past. And I'm also going to be making the second sock and entering it into the, what is she calling it? The Summer Sock Camp Challenge by Kay from the Crazy Sock Lady. And yeah, I'm going to see if I can double dip into any other make-alongs while I'm at it. I always forget to participate in make-alongs. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And then I do the thing and don't post anything, and then I win nothing. But that's my sock, guys. Okay. So to move this, I have another finished object. It is crochet. It is not anything to do with Natalie. We'll come back to her in a little bit. But this is, it's going to be really hard to show you on screen, so I'm going to have my husband insert some footage of me dancing around in it a little bit to get a better idea. I haven't blocked it yet. I haven't sewn in the ends. I just put it on earlier today to show the tester group, but it was way too hot to take photos. So yeah, that's me twirling in an outfit. But this is the Dove dress made by Haley Bailey. I was a tester for it. The pattern test is still underway. I'm not sure when she's releasing the pattern, but it is a, as you can see, fabulous bell sleeved, beautiful textured, really, really dense, cozy texture on this upper bodice part. And then a long, flowy, customizable as a peplum or a crop or a full-length dress, or really whatever length you wanted to make it. I think we're calling this the skirt of the top. I think Haley's was a dress. Mine is more of a tunic because tunic life. And yeah, I really like the pattern. Haley is really, really awesome in that all of her patterns, I'm going to stop holding things and shaking them at you because I feel like that's just really strange. All of her patterns are super customizable, or at least this one, but all of her patterns are super size inclusive in that you can literally make her patterns any size. So I know I talked about this in the last episode, but basically you take like your bust measurement and plug in some numbers and you have your magic formula of how many stitches to start with. And yeah, you can basically make it to exactly fit your body, which is really, really cool. And then obviously the customizable sleeve length, and you could change the length of the bodice. It's like you really have the option to make this fit you just perfectly. So you saw in the video of me swishing around in it that I was like holding out the side. I was trying to show the tester group that I had some regrets, not about the pattern, and it has nothing to do with how the pattern's written because it's excellent. But it was kind of a choose your own adventure, and I think I chose the wrong adventure. I haven't decided yet if I like this adventure. But basically, Haley had recommended about 2 inches, I think, of positive ease, and I was like, I like positive ease. I'm going to go up to 4. Because normally I wear things that are like 8 to 10 inches of positive ease, I say, as I'm wearing a tight t-shirt for first time in a very long time. Guys, it says Yarn Life, and it was on sale at Hobby Lobby. Come on. But yeah, I think I chose too much positive ease, and that maybe the bodice would have been, not that it's not flattering, but I just feel like it's a lot of extra fabric. And that maybe the silhouette with a tighter top and then the flowy bits would be more flattering if I had made the bodice 1 to 2 inches of positive ease, negative ease, less ease than I chose maybe. But it's tricky to tell because the bodice is worked in panels, seamed up, and then you started doing the skirt and the sleeves. I think there's the sleeves and then the skirt. And yeah, so it's hard to tell when you're working in panels how something is going to fit you. I prefer working something that's like top down where you can try it on, but obviously there is benefits to working in panels. It adds a lot of structure to crocheted garments, and yeah, this stitch pattern works lovely flat. So yes, I'm definitely not upset about it. I like it a lot. I'm not sure if I'm maybe going to, I'm not frogging it at this point because this was a lot of crocheting. And I probably should have frogged it when I finished the bodice and tried it on, and I was like, is this gonna work? That's when you go with your gut and you're like, no. If you're questioning it, work back and fix it then. But it was already seamed, and I was like, I don't want to rip out the seams. And now I have a top that might be too big. Plus side is I can wear it if I'm ever pregnant again. This fit will just be lovely. Anyhow, what else can I tell you about this? I used, let me show you the yarn, Hobby Lobby's Soft and Sleek DK, which is lying about being DK. It is a fingering weight. The pattern calls for fingering through DK weight because, again, it's kind of a, you do your gauge and you take your measurements and you make it work. And I was using the color Cedar. So this is pretty much a fingering weight. Color Cedar, I think I used 4 balls or donuts or hanks or whatever they call those. Like, they get so tangled up, guys. Where is the remnant? Every time I like cake them immediately because I know that they're slippery and they're gonna get snaggled, and then you get to the inside of the like donut, that's a different color yarn, but the majority, you get to the inside of the donut cake thing and it's like that inside. So I'm hoping I can untangle that, but probably not. I may have used more closer to 3.5, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it. And I was alternating throughout because I was working with 4 completely different dye lots. So I did the top in one dye lot, and then I alternated on the skirt and the sleeves, and I don't know if you can tell it's slightly different, but I figured there was enough fabric and color variation there that everybody would be okay. So the sleeves are a dye lot, the bodice is a dye lot, and the skirt is 2 or 3 dye lots. Yes, because I bought some of them at different times, and the Hoblob didn't have the same dye lots, and I wasn't about to wait for the Rona shipping. And yes, so that is the Dove dress made by Haley Bailey. Like I said, the pattern test is going through the end of August. Not sure when she was releasing it, but keep an eye out probably in September for that. I might do some alterations and try and like put some darts or something in. Somebody said I could wear a belt on it, but I'm not sure that belting sweater peplum dress things is quite my look. And I did say I was going to take pirate photos in this, and I just haven't taken any photos in it because it's too sweaty. And technically it needs to be blocked, and all of these ends need to be sewn in. And I was also not 110% sure on the sleeves. I had to complete them for the pattern test. I may end up frogging them back to like there and just having like a above elbow ruffle thing. I may take them off altogether. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm going to light myself on fire with these. It's just a lot of sleeve, but it's really, really beautiful, and I feel like a magical bird in it. And my daughter would probably really like one. She really likes owls, like a lot likes owls. So she would probably be really cool with a dress that has all the flaps, as Haley said. All the flaps. So those are my 2 finished objects. The sock obviously I did really fast, but the dress has taken a little bit just because it was a lot of big flowy crocheting and fingering weight yarn. Alright, so we're going to do whips. We'll do the perpetual lockdown blanket. We'll do it quick because not much changes, but I do want to say I'm still doing it. Basically, real talk, I pretty much like a day or 2 before the podcast, every time I'm like, yeah, I haven't worked on that. I better get that done. It was supposed to be a crochet a square every day for all of lockdown, and then it kind of morphed into crochet all the squares for the week, and now it's more like, oh dang, I'm going to record a podcast, crochet 2 weeks plus of squares real quick. So it was supposed to be red last week, but we're running out of same colors. So this is now a red-pink week, and then we had an orange week. I'm also afraid that this orange has actually wool content in it now that I'm done working with all acrylic scraps, but this one feels like it has some wool in it. Hopefully it's not going to felt on me. This blanket though. Oof. And then we're doing yellow this week. She getting pretty hefty, guys. She getting real big. Where's the top of you? We are probably halfway to twin size at this point. No, less than that. It's a good, I don't know, I'll have to measure it, but yeah, lockdown is just kind of eternal at this point. So, still working on that. Aren't you glad I hustled out those hexies for you last night? And then the other whip that I have is a knit whip. It always sounds like I'm saying knitwit. We have an even balance of crochet and knit, though this be a crochet podcast. I don't have any crochet designs this week. Normally, that's something that I typically feature. But waiting on some yarn from a dyer for a sweater design. And I'm planning on where are you? These babies, if you want to know more about the yarn stash, did a yarn stash video last week. Linked it in the places. These woolly little mini guys are going to be a cowl soon. It's going to be rainbow-licious and lovely, and then I'm also conversing with one more dyer on a rainbow-licious Roji Biv shawl. So there will be designs coming soon. Forgotten Lore is still in testing and will be done next week with testing, so hopefully I will have that out by the beginning of September for you. But in the meantime, I've been mass producing socks apparently. I made one sock, guys. That's not mass producing. But I'm finally, this is a little rolly. It's not going to be the best to show you because it wants to just curl up on itself. I'm trying to even her out for you, but I'm finally putting my avocado dyed yarn to use. This just looks like a rolly mess. This is a little toddler cardigan. This is the Topaz cardigan by the Velvet Acorn. And like I said, this is yarn that I hand dyed with avocados, for avocado skins and kits. There is a video on that coming eventually. It has been filmed. I'm just dreading putting all the little bits and pieces of me spending 2 days dyeing with avocados together. So that is going to be happening, but I don't have it yet. But maybe when I finish the sweater, we can incorporate the sweater into that video and then call it a day. So Topaz cardigan by the Velvet Acorn. I believe it runs sizes, I think it's 6 months up to all the way through adults women's sizing. I don't remember the largest, sorry. I was just buying it for a toddler. But yeah, I definitely overcomplicated making this. Could have been a quick and easy knit, but instead I made it like 3 times. So I wanted to use my avocado yarns. They are, I don't know if it's going to pick up on screen. Oh, you're getting a little feisty in there. Yes, slightly different colors. This one was over dyed on another yarn. I believe I had dyed it with marigolds or something. It was a really pale yellowy brown. And I was hoping that I was going to end up with 2 completely different colors, and instead I ended up with like, oops, looks like different dye lots, which it was, but this was a bare yarn and this was like a brown yarn. But yes, so my original plan, the cardigan, is DK weight. And for some reason my original plan was to hack it and make it fingering weight. I don't know why. Why don't just... There's a theme here of me overcomplicating things that have already been designed and me trying to add positive ease in places it doesn't belong and put fingering weight yarn where it doesn't belong, and the creativity, guys. Just follow the pattern, Bella. Just follow the pattern. It knows. The machine knows, Dwight. Yeah. So I tried to make it in fingering weight yarn. I gauged, sort of, and I got through like the halfway through the raglan increases, and I think I was making like the size 6 or 8 because I did some math based on my gauge, and it was coming out like doll size, pretty much. Large doll, but doll size. So I frogged that. And then I don't remember why I ended up frogging the next one. I think I made the size 2, but I didn't re-gauge swatch after doing the fingering weight swatch. I made the size 2 holding these 2 double now. So I don't know if you can see, but there's just slight color variation, and it's actually really, really pretty held double. So holding a double, I tried to make the size 2. My daughter's going to be 2 in November. I went up a needle size or 2, so I thought that would be fine, because normally I'm a pretty... Oh no, I remember now. I went down a needle size without gauging, because normally I'm a pretty loose knitter. So typically when I gauge for testing, I end up having to go down a needle size or 2. So I just automatically did that, and apparently Miss Velvet Acorn, Heidi May, if I'm not mistaken, apparently she is not a tight knitter. She is a loose knitter. I don't know. I ended up having to go up a needle size or 2 instead. So I started making the size 2, thinking that if I did such and such a thing. No. I was making this, I don't even know, guys. Again, I remember. You should keep project pages, Bella, it'd be helpful. I was making the size 2 at the top, and then I was like, oh, I'll increase it to the size 4, and we'll be fine, and it will be A-line or something. Nope, again, didn't fit. So finally still haven't gauged. But now I'm getting gauge as I'm going, which is exciting, because who wants to make a cardigan 4 times? This should have been so quick. But now I am on size, what are you? US 9, 5.5 millimeters. I think the pattern called for 7s, so I'm up to 9s, and I'm doing the size 4, and it's coming about just a little bit too big for my daughter, so hopefully she'll be able to wear it this fall and into spring. And I would much rather have an oversized cardigan, and then she ends up wearing it as a cropped 3/4 length later on. We have one that's like, I talk about this every time, but we have a cardigan that I made. It's crochet, and it's like size 3 to 6 months, and she's still wearing it as it's now half sleeve and cropped, and it's wicked cute. So I like to get my wear out of the toddler mix. So the Topaz cardigan, I think I have one more repeat of these garter ridgies, and then I think there's some garter at the bottom, and then I do sleeves. And it doesn't have a button, alright, it has like a built-in button band. You're doing garter the whole time. So I don't have to do a button band to pick up anything, I don't think. I do have to do an I-cord tie for the top because it doesn't have buttons. But overall, I think we're on track now. So I'll have this finished by next time. So that is the crochet and knit finished object whip project section. I do have a couple things that I've acquired for the 1K giveaway that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but I think now I'm going to do the collab questions with Natalie. So like I said, you guys had sent her all of your question ideas, and she does this a lot with other podcasters, so definitely if you haven't already made a note to go check out her channel, link down below, head on over there. And yeah, before I get into the questions, I'm just going to give you a quick who am I intro in case you are new and you haven't gathered enough information about me at 26 minutes in. So I'm Bella, like I said, and I call myself a maker mama boss lady, but basically I'm a toddler mom and stay-at-home toddler mom. And I do this crochet thing, not as a side hustle, but as a business that I can fit into my toddler momming schedule. So like right now it's like 10 p.m. and I'm recording this video because that's when it worked. But yeah, my daughter's going to be 2 pretty soon, and my husband is a computer whisperer. We live in Connecticut. Just said live really weird, but oh well. We live in Connecticut. And yeah, I've been crocheting since I was seriously crocheting since 16, 17. So about, how old am I? 12, 13-ish years at this point. Math. But I learned how to knit and crochet from my grandmother as a child, and I kind of thought it was a weird hobby for old ladies. And then come high school, I picked up knitting first, actually. And yeah, kind of took off from there. And I've been doing this business thing seriously for going on 3 years. Yes. Having quit my job for going on 2 years. And I have been selling stuff for like 8-ish years, but not seriously, just on the side. I don't know. The business has kind of been growing and morphing for quite a bit. But I started designing about 2 years ago, and the YouTube channel and the blog started last fall. So I'm coming up on 1 year on both my blog and my YouTube channel. Here I do a bi-weekly podcast, and I typically try and have another video every other, in like the other weeks. Be it a tutorial or some sort of like, I've been doing stash tours or tours in my yarn room or just other helpful makery tips. I have some videos on like markets and all of that. So yeah, just maker, crochet, knit, fiber arts content. And the same over on the blog, a lot of tutorials. Here I also do pattern drop videos, which are like intro videos to a new pattern of mine. So there's a whole playlist for that you can go check out, and that's basically me. I really like crocheting shawls, and I am trying to get better at garment design. And instead I've been knitting socks. So let's get into these questions. Question number 1. I'm going to try and look at my computer screen as little as possible, but I do have the questions and some notes over here. Question number 1 that you guys submitted was, which do you prefer, knitting over crochet or crochet over knitting? And I have to say, I initially way overthought that, and I was thinking that you meant like taking a knitted piece and crocheting an edge, or taking a crochet piece and knitting an edge. It's probably not what y'all meant, but I have done that. So I think what you had intended that to mean was, which one do you like better? Or if you had to pick one, which would you gravitate towards? Well, I love both, but as you have noticed, this is Bella's Custom Crochets. Right now the podcast you saw was a little balanced between both, but typically crochet heavy. Crochet is not only my business or my career, but it is also my favorite hobby, favorite pastime. It is something that I would be doing regardless of whether or not I was able to make money at it, which I think is really important as far as a job. Would you do it if you weren't getting paid? And yeah, I absolutely would. And honestly, I was crocheting a ton before, and the only reason I have a business is because my husband was like, how many hats do you need? You really should sell some of this, in the most encouraging way possible. I made that sound sarcastic, but yeah, he pushed me to try this business thing, and here we are. But it's funny when your favorite hobby is also your job. Christy Glass calls it your jobby, which is a ridiculous word, but it's hard to keep that balance of crocheting for myself or my daughter versus crocheting for business, or testing versus designing, and all of that. So it's tricky when your favorite hobby is also what you do for money. So I try and keep a balance there and make sure I do have some projects that are just for me or just for, you know, the selfish ones. It's not selfish. You're allowed to make yourself stuff. You're allowed to make your kids stuff. But yeah, knitting, I think where knitting comes in is it's just purely hobby for me. Other than I have one knit baby blanket pattern because I designed it right before my daughter was born. Yeah, I don't intend to make knitting patterns. I don't sell knit items. I knit just for me, or just for my daughter mostly. Just for me and my daughter, and I don't know if JoJo has anything knit that I've made him. But yeah, knitting is just hobby for me, and I think that's really important. I know that I probably could monetize it somehow. It sneaks into the podcast and maybe on the blog a little bit, but overall I am a crocheter, and I have needed to make that distinction. Otherwise, not that doing it as business takes the joy out of it, but I just needed something that was separate, like a distinction between the the crochet business and my hobbies. So it's nice to be like, I'm gonna knit this sock and it has nothing to do with my business. It's really hard to say this without making it sound like I hate my business, because I don't. I really love it, and it's really awesome that I'm able to make money doing something that I love. I firmly believe that I was creatively created to create, I like to say. So design and whatnot is a huge part of expressing that for me. So I'm probably over answering this question, but yeah, crochet is a necessary creative outlet for me, and it also has really helped with my tendency to be really anxious and my inability to sit still and relax. And I don't know if it counts as relaxing if you're designing something and actively thinking and working, but sitting down and being mostly still other than that is really important for me. So that is question number 1. I don't know if I actually answered it because I don't prefer one over the other. But if you had to do a ratio of how much time I spend doing these things, crochet would win. If I was on an island and could only do one, I don't know. I don't want to be on that island. The second question that you guys had submitted was, what is a new stitch you would like to learn, and how do you learn 2 stitches? Learn new stitches. That was 2 questions. You sneaky people, you. So what's a new stitch you want to learn, and how do you go about learning stitches? So a new stitch I want to learn, I've looked into a little bit, I guess. I haven't swatched yet, so let's say I haven't learned it, but I've watched some videos. I want to use herringbone single crochet. I have a design with herringbone half double crochet, and they're 2 completely different stitches, so it's funny that they have the same name. I think the single crochet sometimes might be called chevron single crochet or something too. It has another name. The herringbone half double crochet is what I used in my There and Back Again cowl pattern, and it's a really pretty stitch motif and very easy and adds beautiful texture. The herringbone single crochet, if I had a swatch I'd show you now, but it is very closely mimicking a knit herringbone stitch, which I learned a couple months ago doing a test knit for Tiffany Lynn Hand Knits, who is the queen of the herringbone. I did the beachcomb tee for her. And yeah, I realized that there was a crochet version, and I want to use it in that cowl design I was talking about. I've watched a couple of videos, and it seems rather fiddly, and more so depending on if you're working it flat or in the round. Definitely doable, but it's got some weird technique where instead of crocheting through like the center or the back, you're crocheting through like the front of the stitches on part of it, which is not something I've done before, but I think it's definitely doable. So I need to do some swatching with those yarns and see how I like it. But in general, how do I learn new stitches? I think a lot of times I see things on Instagram, and I don't think it's appropriate to ask designers, hey, what stitch is that you used in your pattern if it's a paid for pattern? That's annoying. Go buy the pattern. But sometimes if I see a designer promoting a pattern, I'll be like, what pattern is that? And then we will hunt that pattern down. Not to steal a design, but stitches are, there for everybody. Or I will see a picture on Pinterest or a tutorial somewhere on YouTube, or I'll have an idea of a stitch that I want, and then I'll kind of go through, I have a bunch of stitch dictionaries. I actually said that right for once. It's usually a tongue twister. A couple different 500 crochet stitches, crochet inspiration, 350 crochet stitches, crochet stitch guide. But my favorite one is Crochet Every Way Stitch Dictionary by Dora Ornstein. You can see I have a whole bunch of little tabbies on there. But this is great if you need stitch inspiration, but it's also really great as a designer or somebody that wants to, whether you're doing it for money or selling or just as your own designs. But it shows you how to increase and decrease and takes a lot of the guesswork out of designing something with shaping. So this can be applied to garments or shawls or all sorts of things. I don't remember, 125 stitches are in there. And most of them have the flat and then the increase and the decrease. And it tells you if the stitch is reversible and how many stitches you need to be worked over, and it has charts and written instructions. You see? Yeah. So it's a really beautiful, thorough book. Dora is a very experienced designer, and I really like this, especially when I'm doing, there's been a couple, I'm trying to think of which stitches I pulled out of here for different things. But it's been very helpful as far as shaping, because there have been designs like my dandelion dance shawl. I spent weeks figuring out how to do increases and decreases on the daisy or star stitch, because I could not find that information anywhere, so I had to come up with a way to do it. This takes some of the guesswork out. So that is a great way to learn stitches. I think that's everything I wanted to say on that. Oh, or sometimes I totally make up stitch motifs, like my Fandeco stitch for my Fandeco tee and my Fandeco vest. All these patterns I'm mentioning are mine, and they're linked in my Ravelry Etsy Lovecraft store, BT Doves. Anybody say that still? No. But that, yeah, I just made that up because I couldn't find a stitch that I wanted, so I made it my own. Question number 3 that you guys had submitted was, what is something you refuse to make? And this I'm going to answer from a business and a personal perspective. I think my answers are different for both. But generally, as a business, there's a couple things I refuse to make, or categories, I'd say. I don't sell anything that isn't my own pattern. That's just personal preference. Most designers, you can sell their patterns. It'll say usually in the pattern if they're okay with that. But a lot of times I get tagged on trendy things on Facebook, like those pocket shawls that are going around like mad right now. And people are like, can you make me this? And I'm like, yes, I could, but yeah. Overall, right now, I'm focusing on designing over selling, but I do take custom orders, but I don't like the trendy things. And I think as a business, I've really grown in my ability to say no, which is really hard for me because I struggle with guilt, and I know that I can make all the things. And I do love the creativity, but early on in my business, I was making just about anything that anybody asked because I could make it, and that was a really powerful feeling. Powerful, I don't know if that's the right word, but it was a really awesome feeling to be like, yes, I can make you that, and then making it. But taking payment up front and having never made a thing before, I usually vastly underestimated the time and effort that would take to go into that item and materials and all of that. So while I had a fun time creating the thing, I don't know I was making a lot of money, and my pricing was pretty off back then anyway. So yeah, back 8 years ago when I was making literally whatever somebody asked me to make, yes, it was not very profitable. Weirdest thing I said yes to? You guys didn't ask this, but I want to work this in somewhere. Weirdest thing I think I've made? Somebody contacted me and wanted to make, and I did make miniature, about this big, maybe that big, cake topper. Why would you put yarn on top of cake? I don't know. Miniature cake topper amigurumi, minions, bride and groom, with custom tuxedo and wedding dress. I don't remember what I charged with that, but there's no way I made enough money to have made 4-inch minions wearing custom, matching as best possible bride and groom's attire for a cake. In the same category of things I no longer make and absolutely refuse to make for legal and otherwise reasons, I don't make copyrighted characters. I know there's a lot of businesses that do, but technically you are not supposed to be making off money off of something that is not yours. So back in the day, I was making all the Minions, all the Hello Kitties, all the Spider-Mans, all the whatever your kid wanted. But I put my foot down on that because technically it is illegal and I could get myself into a lot of trouble with that, and not interested in that level of trouble. I don't need Disney coming after me. So yeah, it's totally okay if you make those things for yourself. I have made my husband some really awesome, completely original, one-of-a-kind Guardians of the Galaxy amigurumis, but they're just for him. He didn't pay me. I didn't make any money off of it. I just like him. So yeah, those are my business refusals. And then as a non-business answer, I would probably say a bathing suit for myself or anyone. I don't understand crochet bathing suits. They don't seem functional to me in the least. Cotton yarn absorbs water like crazy and doesn't hold shape very well. So yeah, any bathing suit, not a crop top kind of gal, not a festival fringy top kind of gal. If you are, that's totally fine. That's awesome. You make whatever you want. But that is something I will not be making for myself because that's just not who I am. And it just seems like a waste of yarn and time if you're going to build yourself a crochet bikini and then get it wet and then you're going to be all sorts of naked. Question number 4 is, what are your tips for getting drapey projects with crochet? I think crochet has a stigma of being very thick and very stiff and taking a lot of yarn and just being kind of dense, which it definitely can be, but I have, I think, 3 tips that will help you achieve drape in your crochet. The first is going to be gauge. So you can, I'm coming at this kind of from a design perspective, or if you're looking for patterns for crochet, to look out for these things. So gauge, you're going to want to crochet maybe loosely or with a larger than recommended hook size if you're looking to create drape. So an example would be my Serenity and Shiloh shawl. Is fingering weight yarn, but I believe off the top of my head it's with like a J or a K sized hook. It's my pattern, I should know that. But it's with a very large hook size that you would generally associate with maybe a worsted or bulky weight yarn. So that creates a lot of openness, and the more open the stitches are and like loosely connected together, loosely stitched, you're going to create a more open, more drapey fabric. So I think looking out for patterns that have a looser gauge, or like something like this, where it has flowy sleeves. It's in fingering weight yarn, but again, it's a fairly not super dense fabric. And yeah, they just drape and hang very beautifully, whereas this part is not meant to be drapey and it's super thick because you want it to provide coverage. So those are the kind of things to take in consideration for gauge. And then I think the other example, yeah, I was thinking, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Natalie does this without notes, I think. I'm a note kind of gal. I think the other thing to not be afraid of is to use finer weight yarns. I already said fingering weight yarn. You can definitely create drape with like a worsted. Drapey bulky yarn might be hard. But again, I think the lighter the weight yarn and the more open of a, crazy hair, of a fabric that you can create, the better off you're going to be. Don't be afraid of the lighter weight yarns. And especially for like shawls and stuff, a lot of times, at least I know mine, like I already said, the Serenity and Shiloh, the Forgotten Lore that's coming out next is lace weight, which probably terrifies a lot of crocheters. Lace weight, but again, worked with a very large hook size, so it goes quick and it creates a beautiful, beautiful drapey fabric. Second thing you probably want to consider is fiber content. You can get drape with any content, but I think you're probably going to get more drape, or more easily get drape, with a natural fiber or something that has a blend of natural and synthetic fibers. Acrylic, I have heard that you can get some pretty good drape. Like this is actually acrylic and it's doing a fairly good job of being drapey on these sleeves. But definitely is a little heavier and less drapey than if I had done it in like a wool or a linen or a cotton or a silk. Cotton by itself isn't super drapey, but a natural fiber of some kind. And I will have one more point on drape that we'll cover with the acrylic yarn, but I think fiber content matters a lot. And it doesn't necessarily have to be expensive hand-dyed. If that is something out of your reach or budget, just look for something that maybe has some natural content in it, like maybe something that has some bamboo or a wool blend. Those are going to be great for drape. And the last thing is blocking. Blocking is a pain in the bum last step, but it's really crucial for getting your garment or shawl or finished piece to just that next level. I do have a video on my channel about wet blocking, but you can also do steam blocking. Dry blocking doesn't do much for drape, I don't think, but I pretty much wet block everything because I just think that it adds an extra finishing touch of getting things just right, and it opens up the fabric and kind of relaxes the fibers. And again, if you're working with a natural fiber, that's really important. And I have heard wonderful things about steam blocking acrylic. So either with a designated steamer or with like holding your iron at a distance and like misting. I know Tony of Teal Yarn Crafts swears by that, but I have not steam blocked anything ever, so I cannot speak to that personally, but I know that blocking makes a big difference in achieving drape. So I hope that answers that question. And question number 5, the last one that we're answering together, is are you a process knitter / crocheter, process fiber artist, or do you enjoy the finished object more? And I think for me, I've thought about this question outside of this, like before now, and I honestly don't know the answer. I think I'm kind of both, and I think it depends on the project and the mood that I'm in. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably say finished project. I do enjoy the process. I love learning new things, be it designing something and figuring out how to take a pile of string and make it into the finished piece that I'm looking for, or following a new pattern or learning a new stitch like we talked about. That's fascinating, and again, the creativity just really gets me going. And yeah, I love the process part of it, but I'm also tend to be very obsessive and very fast, and most of my whips are done pretty quick, other than the eternal lockdown blanket. And I am not someone that has, like, the whips that I show you are the whips that I have. I do not have a stash of whips somewhere. I think I have one knit sweater that I tried to design myself and had no idea what I was doing. Other than that, there are no whips. There's no whips. So I like the process of starting and finishing, and if I'm not going to like something, it gets frogged and not stored away in a closet somewhere. So yeah, I like having the finished product. And I try to be intentional about looking for things that I'm going to want in my wardrobe or in my child's wardrobe or in my life in some way. And not just making the first thing that catches my eye on Instagram, Pinterest, wherever. Because there's a lot of things that I'm like, ooh, that's so pretty, but I know that I'm never going to wear it. And I have a tremendous amount of guilt if I make something. Again, the guilt, guys. A tremendous amount of guilt, self-inflicted, if I make something, whether it was an expensive hand-dyed or a $3 yarn from Hobby Lobby. If I make something and it's sitting in my closet and I'm not utilizing it, that's gonna drive me crazy. Like, I spent all the time making it, it needs to be getting loved and worn. So probably, hi motorcycle at 11 p.m., what are you doing? Probably a finished object kind of person, but I do love the process, so it's hard to decide on that one. Hopefully I've answered some of these questions in a way that makes sense to you guys. I'm really eager to see Natalie's answers because hers were probably a lot shorter and a lot more concise than mine. Thanks for putting up with me. And then the only other thing that I wanted to cover is stuff regarding the giveaway. I got a couple more things. But thank you very much, Natalie, for letting me do this collaboration with you. Let me know down below, guys, if you liked this and this is something you might want to see again, be it me reaching out to other podcasters or seeking out podcasters that are doing this or something. This is a really fun way to kind of expand the community. And I know that a lot of Natalie's followers are knitters, so welcome over here to my little crochet realm. And yeah, the more fiber fam we have, the better. So thank you for coming if you are new, and I hope that you would consider sticking around and you didn't find me too rambly. Also, I have a giveaway, so stay. Like I said, coming up on 1K, might already be there by now. Cue cheering noises. JoJo don't really put cheering noises in, I'm kidding. But yes, once I hit the actual 1K, we will be doing the giveaway here on YouTube. And it's going to be for subscribers, and there'll probably be some kind of prompt question next time to answer, to enter below, all of that. But you're going to want to subscribe this time so you make sure you don't miss that video. Click the notification bell, get that turned on, because there's goodness to be had. Last time I showed you some stickers and some other notion-y bits that I had gotten from some friends. The giveaway is going to be focusing on Connecticut makers, because I'm from Connecticut, so these are all people who are local to me, most of whom I have met, interacted with, and used their products in my own personal making or designs. So these people I vouch for. So I'm going to have some yarn. I think I already showed you this one last time. I don't remember. Sassy Black Yarns. This is the color Monday's Attitude. And these are fingering weight yarns. This is a 75 superwash, 25% nylon. And this is a dyer who is local to me. So Lakeisha sent this one over for me. And then I also reached out to Cup of Tea Yarns, who dyes locally to me as well, but she dyes with natural dyes. So I believe this is just the bare base, but then it's really hard to see because it's all hidden in the skein, but there's beautiful purples and browns in here that go really lovely. I had sent her a picture of this one and she's like, oh yeah, I have something to match that. So these are fingering. This one is called Sad Songs, and it's on her high twist superwash, 85% merino, 15% nylon. I don't know if I've worked with 85-15, but I really like the feel of this. I used her DK in my original One Skein Wonder Cowl, the purple one, and her yarn is just lovely. But I kind of want to get some of this high twist in my life, because look at that. That's really, really soft. You can see the brown in there too. So you're going to get these two skeins of fingering weight yarn from Connecticut local dyers. And then to go along with that, I have from Robin of Within Creative. Are you focusing? Are you trying? We're trying. Within Creative, Robin, whom I have not met personally because every time we tried to, it didn't end up working out. But I pretty much exclusively use her bags for my Notions pouches. They are not specifically sold as Notions pouches. They are sold as pencil pouches or really what purse pouches, makeup pouches, whatever kind of pouches you might need. But she sent this one because it kind of sort of coordinates with our yarn babies. See, look at that. We got the mustard and the purple. Love me some mustard and purple. Not usually a pink person, but this is lovely together. And also these are going to one of you, not me. But it's got this purple lining, and then this really pretty print and a purple zipper. So you're going to get a Notion pouch to go with your yarns. And I love that DPNs or crochet hooks, unless they're, yeah, this would even fit like a frills one, I think. Yeah, so your standard DPNs, sock needles, crochet hooks, all of that are going to fit in here. I usually keep a little mini ruler, pair of scissors, darning needle, that sort of thing. Chuck this in a project bag, and they're the perfect size. Or you could use it, in your purse or the like. And then Robin also sent over two others. These are not going to be in this giveaway, but they will be in another. Here, I'll just show you because they're pretty. Be in another giveaway at some point. And this pretty pink floral with gingham on the inside, green zipper, super cute. And then this kind of modern-y printed pink, gray, yellow with a yellow zip. And then polka dots inside. I love how she does the contrast inside. I think that's really cute. So those are going to be going into the giveaway stash for future giveaways because I want to give you guys stuff. So these ones, and then in addition, if you want to see the other stuff that's going to be coming in the giveaway, I talked about it last podcast, so we will send you over there. But likely next episode, I'm going to be doing that giveaway, so make sure that you are getting notifications and that you are on the ball about that so you can win the yarns and the things from Connecticut and me. From me in the state of Connecticut. We're giving you presents. But yeah, that is this episode. It's a little bit longer than average, but I had to fit those questions in there, so I hope you guys liked that different little content. I hope you're here to stay, and I hope I catch you next time on the giveaway. So thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting my making journey, And I hope you found something you liked here. Until I talk to you guys next time, happy making, my friends. Bye.